I'm here at CCTG annual meeting with Dr. Rosalyn Juergens. Dr. Juergens, you were awesome. You just gave a little presentation telling us about some of the exciting new things coming. Can you give us a brief summary, please?
Absolutely. So I work with the Investigational New Drug Committee within the CCTG, and some of the trials that we have up and coming are really trying to harness some of our knowledge about what really makes lung cancers tick. And I think the community at large is very familiar with different targets such as the epidermal growth factor receptor mutation, or EGFR, and we all know about ALK translocations. And we've had some very exciting news recently about opportunities to treat our patients with ROS1 translocations, RET translocations, MET skipping, all through a clinical trial that's being run through the Canadian Cancer Trials group called CAPTURE. So there's now opportunities to get access to patients for these really hopefully life-changing drugs. Mm-hmm. We're also doing a clinical trial looking at whether or not we can identify hypermutated patients. So there's a concept that looks at something called tumor mutation burden. It's actually how many mutations does an individual person's tumor have. And we've seen through several smaller studies that the more mutations the tumor has, the more likely they are to benefit from immunotherapy. So we've got a clinical trial ongoing right now that could include lung, specifically even small cell or mesothelioma, where there's a blood test that we can use to screen these patients to see whether or not they have something called a POL-E or a POL-D1 mutation. And if they do, then they can go on to get access to a PD-1 with a CTLA-4, specifically nivolumab, with or without ipilimumab. So potentially a neat way to learn more about patients' tumors, because the physicians who screen these patients actually get a much larger profile than just the POL-E and POL-D1, so that hopefully we can get patients matched to the right treatment.
Right, so people get screening and they can find out what their tumor markers are, which is really exciting.
And it is really exciting because this is something that we should be looking at for options. And we now know that we've been building infrastructure within Canada for molecular profiling, and now multiple centers throughout the country actually do have the ability to do a deeper dive into patients' tumors. So where we forget is some people may have been diagnosed a few years ago, they may have had surgery or they may have had radiation, and they may be relapsing now, and they might not have had that testing, or they might have had the testing but with old technology.
Right.
So it may be worthwhile to talk to your doctor to see whether or not you might be a candidate for fancier, more modern testing.
That's right, so anyone can ask the doctor. It's just people who've had immunotherapy don't qualify. That's right?
For this particular one clinical trial, it's taking patients who have not had immunotherapy, but for the CAPTURE clinical trial, CAPTURE doesn't matter. If we find a target, then a person can be matched to one of these tablet-type treatments.
So, great questions to ask your doctor. Thank you so much, Dr. Juergens.
My pleasure. Thank you for asking.